I Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your warning to make sure your phone does not disturb us. Lovely to see you, lovely to have you here. If you have a phone, please make sure that it is off, preferably, or set to silent. We have someone taking some photographs this evening, and we're streaming as well, so you'll be able to catch up on anything, but no recording otherwise, please, while you're joining us. It's an enormous pleasure for us at New London Synagogue to be hosting this evening a little bit of our classical musical heritage from New London Synagogue. Rabbi Louis Jacobs, of blessed memory, the founding rabbi of New London, was the mitzvah tutor to a young man called Daniel Barenboim, who played here with his wife of blessed memory, Jacqueline Dupre, back in the 60s. And Yehudi Menuhin has played here. Part of all of that is connected to another of our dearly beloved members, Joseph Horowitz, who together with his wife, Joseph of blessed memory, together with his wife, Anna, used to organize concerts here. Joseph Horowitz was the longest standing teacher at the Royal Academy of Music, who I think taught composition there for something like 45 years, remarkably. So this has always been a place which has celebrated the broadest idea of what it means to be Jewish, and understanding that Judaism manifests itself sometimes with prayer, but sometimes with music. The genesis of this evening is that Chen told me she was involved in this album, and I asked if we could do this, and she said yes, and much to our excitement, we get to do it at a very special time, Chen, for you, for Charles, for Noah, and especially for Ariel, and we look forward to celebrating. There'll be a reception afterwards if anybody fancies staying for a nibble and something to drink, and there's also opportunities to buy the album. We're really grateful, Ken, that the proceeds from the album sales will be to New London Synagogue. And I'm also really delighted to welcome alongside Chen and Noemi, our flautist today, and Richard on piano, a dear friend of my family, Norman Lebrecht, who is one of the world's leading scholars of this period in general, Mahler in particular, and also just a wonderful voice, an advocate for a celebration of both music of the period and Judaism. So we're really delighted when you're here to introduce this evening. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Jeremy. It's really a great honor to be standing in this place where Rabbi Dr. Louis Jacobs delivered the Hesped for Brian Epstein. And the four Beatles were sitting here: John, Paul, Ringo, George. The only time they were ever together in a synagogue, wearing little black kippots. And as far as I've been able to ascertain, they each had a minder whose job it was to put the kippah back on when it slid off the mitre. But anyway, whatever it was, Louis was on tremendous form. It was probably the coolest moment in the history of the United Kingdom rabbinate. If you know something cooler, let me know. We are here tonight for Ken's idea of the way that certain Jews shaped music in Vienna at the turn of the last century. The late Professor George Steiner, was he a member here? Oh, how did you miss him? George Steiner described turn of century Vienna as the crucible of civilization. And I think that definition has probably outworn its usefulness. He wanted to break it down, say what happened in Vienna around the turn of the century. And it's quite limited. It's obviously the birth of psychoanalysis. It's obviously the development of some major therapies in medicine. But in terms of the arts, really it's just music. Literature and theatre did not advance that much in that time. But in music, it's an explosion. And in music, it absolutely overturns everything. So everything we think of in terms of the history of music begins in Vienna at that time. The date I want to give you, I'll come back to it later for another reason, date I want to give you is 1897, okay? 1897 is when Brahms died in Vienna, and when Gustav Mahler arrived as director of the opera and completely overturned the idea of what opera is and how opera should be performed. So that's when the revolution begins. But it begins particularly with the first of our composers tonight, Alexander von Zemlinsky. And it begins roughly there, around that time, 1897. Now, Zemlinsky is about as inclusive as you could possibly get. His mother was half Muslim, half Catholic from Bosnia. She converted at the Sephardi Synagogue in Vienna, where Zemlinsky's father was the shamash. So, if you've got three monotheisms together rolled into one composer, you're going to get something quite interesting. And he was clearly a prodigy. He started going to the conservatory when he was about 9 or 10 years old. He caught the ear of Brahms, which was a pretty good thing to do, and he did it by basically imitating late Brahms. If you are going to flatter a composer, don't hold back. Do it liberally. So Zemlinsky, his first works are very, very late Brahms, and Brahms approved of him, and this was the beginning of his career as a composer. At the same time, in the mid-1890s, he starts hanging out with another young man who is a musician who's never had a lesson in his life. His name's Arnold Schoenberg. He plays the cello, he plays the double bass. But he is untutored, and Zemlinsky is his only teacher. Nobody teaches Schoenberg apart from Zemlinsky. And Schoenberg has the idea that he wants to turn music completely on its head, overturn the diatonic system that has ruled music in Europe for 5 centuries and create completely new sounds. So here you are, the beginnings of the pair of them, Zemlinsky, Schoenberg, and Mahler. Here's the progression. Now this gets into a little tangle of relationships here, so I need your concentration, okay? Schoenberg marries Zemlinsky's sister Matilda. Got that? Got it, good, okay. Right. Zemlinsky is having an affair with one of his pupils called Alma Schindler, okay? Good there? Alma Schindler meets Mahler at dinner and thinks this is a bigger fish. She doesn't actually want to leave Zemlinsky. She writes in her diary, if only Alex were just a little bit more famous. But he wasn't, and so she goes with Mahler, okay? This, in turn, brings Zemlinsky and Schoenberg into Mahler's orbit. Mahler is a very powerful figure in Vienna. Mahler employs Zemlinsky at the Opera House as a conductor. He's a very good conductor indeed. He becomes a kind of patron to Schoenberg, and he is prepared to put his own weight and his own name behind Schoenberg's radical new works. Not only that, he gets his brother-in-law, concertmaster of the Vienna Philharmonic, to perform them. The works are become atonal. The audience riots, and this is where everything starts to happen in Vienna. But it begins there with Zemlinsky. And then it gets even more tangled, because the marriage between Schoenberg and Zemlinsky's sister is not going terribly well, and Schoenberg can't really make a living, but they have a painter living upstairs called Richard Gerstl, who's rather lonely. He's 25 years old, he's Jewish, and Schoenberg starts going upstairs to chat with him, and then starts taking lessons, art lessons from him. And then Matilda starts going upstairs, but for a different purpose, and she's having an affair with him. And Schoenberg catches them together and they run off, and Zemlinsky then has to go and bring his sister back to Schoenberg and persuade her to leave Gerstl, and Gerstl commits suicide. This is just the beginning. I mean, this is really, this is very fantasy Vienna, okay? What actually happens to Zemlinsky, whose songs we're going to hear tonight? I'm sort of going to leave that in the air because we'll come back to it a little bit later. What actually happens to Zemlinsky is he has he continues composing, he does quite well, but he doesn't have the ambition, he doesn't have the genius of Schoenberg, he doesn't have the appetite. He writes actually to Alma once, I think it's 1927, he writes to Alma, he says, in order to be a composer, you need elbows, and I don't have them. And that was a problem with Zemlinsky. He was just a little bit too much into himself, a little too shy to go for the self-promotion. And when he was head of the opera house in Prague, he continued composing, his operas were being put on in a number of cities in Europe, and then when Prague fell to the Germans, he managed to get out to America. In his first month in New York, he got himself a publishing contract, which was pretty amazing for somebody without elbows. And then a couple of weeks later, he had a massive stroke, and for the last 3 years of his life, he was in a care home. So that's the end of Zemlinsky. His works start to come back only in the 1980s, 1990s. We still don't hear enough of them, but we're about to, and that's where Chen comes in.
Liebe Schwalbe, kleine Schwalbe, du fliegst auf und singst so früh, strahlst durch die Himmelsbläue, deine süße Melodie. Die da schlafen noch am Morgen, alle Liebenden in Ruf. Mit dem zwitschernden Gesange, die Versunkenen weckest du. Weil die Morgenschwalbe rief, denn die Nacht will den betragen, der den Tag verschlief. Fensterlein, nachts bist du zu, tust auf dich am Tag mir zu Leibe, Leibe. Mit Nelken umringelt bist du, öffne dich Augenweide. Fenster aus köstlichem Stein, drinnen die Sonne, die Sterne da draußen. O Fensterlein, heimlich und klein, Sonne da drinnen und Rosen da draußen. stillen Herzenswund. Mögen andere stillen Schmerzen jeder Sorge, was will. Sind zufrieden, unsere Herzen sind wir beide gerne still. Briefchen schrieb und warf in den Wind ich, sie fielen ins Meer und sie fielen auf Sand, Ketten von Schnee und von Augen im Bild, die Sonne zerschmilzt sich in meine Hand. Maria, du sollst es dir denken, am Ende gewinnt wer da wird im Streit. Maria, das sollst du bedenken, es siegt, wer da wird in Ewigkeit. Im Buchenwald durch junge Grün geht eine alte Weise. Sie klingt wie Harfenstolz und kühn, die Blumen und die Herzen blühen. Zwei Herrens fern und leise, die anderen folgen hinterdrein, den Pfad, den wir betraten. Ihr Lachen schärft des Herzens Pein, wir aber müssen fröhlich sein, sonst ist das Herz verraten. Von Schlittern einen blühenden Zweig hast du für mich gebrochen. Die Dornen sprachen, sei nicht feig, die Blüten aber lieb und schweig.
Yeah. I hope so. Oh, it's not on. It might not be on. Yes. If you didn't hear me before, I'm going to start all again from the beginning. My mic isn't on. But, yes? Is that better? I mean, you shouldn't really... we shouldn't really need a mic in here. This place got fabulous acoustics. And in every way, amazing proportions. It's fine. 1897, right? Okay, so March 1897 in the Czech town of Brno. Anyone here from Brno? Am I pronouncing it nearly half right? No? Okay. All right. So in Brno, in March 1897, there is a birth and there is a brit, and they call the little boy Erich Wolfgang Korngold. They call him Wolfgang because his father wants him to be the next Amadeus Mozart. And the boy seems to respond quite well, and the father does quite well, because the father is then moved to Vienna to be chief critic of the Neue Freie Presse, which is the central establishment newspapers, like a cross between the Times and the Guardian. And by the time the boy is 8 years old, he is composing. And the father, who is now the most widely read critic in Vienna, takes the boy to Gustav Mahler, who's head of the opera house, and said, you must hear my boy, this is the new Mozart. And Mahler hears him at the piano, and what's he going to do? I mean, it's a tricky situation. Do you tell the lead critic in town, no, I don't want anything to do with your prodigy? Or do you say, all right, I'll commission a ballet? So it was the ballet option, okay? But the boy doesn't know orchestration yet, so Mahler sends him to, who else, Zemlinsky, to basically compose the ballet for him. And this is the beginning of the career of Erich Wolfgang Korngold. Korngold, thanks to his father's influence with media, starts to make quite a name for himself as a composer, but not until after the First World War does he really have a huge success. And the success was with an opera called Die Tote Stadt, The Dead City. It's an incredibly decadent piece of work, but it reflected the rather depressed state of mind in Vienna at that time. And it's, people talking with the dead, and it's got one aria, Marietta's aria, which is probably the most popular thing in Central Europe since Dvorak's Song to the Moon. And it was a huge hit. In fact, we can quantify it. No opera by a living composer had more performances in Vienna between 1919 and 1938 than Die Tote Stadt of Korngold. And Korngold continued writing. He wrote operas, but he was getting a bit bored, because he'd never done anything else except write music. He's got his father sitting on his shoulder saying, where's the new concerto? Where's the new opera? And the father is always sitting on his shoulder. And he gets the opportunity for escape. Does the name Max Reinhardt ring a bell? Yes? The most influential theatre director in Europe, goes to Hollywood in 1932. Good time to go to Hollywood, because they're still open to ideas. Goes to Hollywood in 1932 with a contract to compose music for a film of Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream. They still did culture in Hollywood. And Reinhardt to direct, and he said to Korngold, come to Hollywood, be my composer. It was a disaster. The film went 4 times over budget. Reinhardt never worked again, but they loved Korngold. They heard, the moguls in Hollywood heard in Korngold's music exactly what they wanted for the accompaniment of the new sound film. And they offered him a contract, and Korngold said, no, I'll go back to Vienna. So he takes his family back to Vienna. But when he gets there, it's already in 1934. And the atmosphere has changed, and the Nazis are on the rise, and the Chancellor, Dollfuss, is assassinated. And Korngold thinks, maybe Hollywood's not that bad. So he packs up his family, and they go to Hollywood, and he becomes the most successful composer in Hollywood. He composes all these swashbucklers for Errol Flynn. And actually almost anything that you hear in a Hollywood film score
can trace its lineage, and a successful Hollywood film star can trace its lineage to Korngold, and from Korngold back to Zemlinsky. We're still with Zemlinsky. So he's hugely influential, but again, it doesn't end well. He's making a fortune in Hollywood. People like Schoenberg are there, barely able to buy a loaf of bread. I mean, they are exiles, they have nothing. And Korngold is a wealthy man. He has a huge mansion on the Palisades. But he's missing the life. He's missing the applause. He's missing the acclaim that he had in Vienna. He wants people to recognize him again in the operas, in the opera houses and the concert halls, and nobody will. And when the war is over, nobody wants to know about him. He writes a couple of symphonies, he writes a violin concerto, but he's miserable for the last years of his life. And in fact, I found a letter that his widow wrote. She was still his wife. It's early 1957. His widow wrote a letter to the BBC that I came across in a second-hand bookstore tucked inside a book. And his widow writes to a producer at what was then the third program saying, my husband's going to be 60 this year, and he's not very well. It would be so nice if the BBC could just perform one of his pieces. And of course they didn't. And he died that year. And that was the sad end of Korngold. Now, of course, the violin concerto has become really popular. Everybody's doing that. They're doing the cello concerto as well, and some of the other music. And the songs, we're going to hear the Shakespeare songs. I need a bit.
On my black to sustain. With dagger of death, in his rage and his wrath, cries ha ha to the devil, ha 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 ha. Like a mad lad, pair thy nails dead. Adieu, good man, David. Adieu, good man, David. Good David, good David, good David, good David. Adieu, good man, David. Ha 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 ha. Hey, Robin, Charlie Robin, tell me how thy lady does. My lady is unkind purdy. Hey, Robin, Charlie Robin, tell me why is she so? She loves When that I was a little boy, a little tiny boy, with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, a foolish thing was but a toy, for the rain, it rained every day. For the rain, it raineth every day. But when I came to man's estate, with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, gates, knaves and thieves, men shut their gate. For the rain, it rained every day. For the rain, it raineth every day. But when I came, alas, to wife, with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, my squabbling should I never thrive, could I ever thrive, for the rain, it rained every day. For the rain, it raineth every day. A great while ago the world began, with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain. But that's all fine, our play is done, and the rain I wanted to say a few words why I decided to record this disc, this CD, this album with the Jewish Chamber Orchestra Munich and my connection to Vienna and to the orchestra. My first 2 trips to Vienna, I got fatally sick. And me being the superstitious person I am, I just about believe in everything you can't see or touch, but you need to believe in it. I decided that I, in my previous life, lived in Vienna and I had a trauma there. And so I said, this has to be corrected. In Judaism, Rabbi Jeremy, there is the idea of tikkun, meaning correcting things. So a few years later, I was invited to sing at the Vienna State Opera, and although I was afraid and I was sure I'm going to get sick, I decided to go anyway. And started a wonderful relationship, love relationship with this opera house and with this amazing city. And I was very, very fortunate to sing over 200 performances in the city of Vienna, in the opera, at the Musikverein, at the Konzerthaus, even in the Stephansdom. And in Vienna, I first came across the music of Korngold and Zemlinsky and Mahler, and I fell in love with this period, this fin de siècle, the turn of the previous century, and decided to dedicate myself really to the music of these giant composers. Of course, Mahler is the big son, but everybody else around him. And I also feel so proud that all of them were Jewish. So it's not a coincidence, I believe. Norman can tell us about it. And so Daniel Grossman, who is the founder and the artistic director of the Jewish Chamber Orchestra Munich, with whom I recorded my first CD, also with Noemi, of pieces by Felix and Fanny Mendelssohn. He said, okay, Chen, what's our next project? And I say, let's make a homage to these wonderful Jewish composers, Viennese Jewish composers, who really changed the way we hear music today. And this is how that CD came to life. And Richard and I worked together for about 1.5 years now, and he helped me discover these wonderful songs. So thank you very much. And now 4 other songs by Korngold. The poor souls that sang by a sycamore tree sing all a green willow, and on her bosom head on her knee sing willow, willow, willow. The free streams ran by her and murmured her voice. Sing willow, willow. Her salt tears fell from her and softened the stars. Sing willow, willow, willow.
What we're going to hear, the last song of this set, is possibly the most ambivalent song ever written. Gustav Mahler, you remember, got engaged to Alma. He was 41, she was 21. Do not try this at home. He pulls the oldest trick in the book. If you're a composer and you want a girl to fall in love with you, you say, here's a little one I've written just for you. Never fails. But in Mahler's case, what he writes is a song of calculated ambiguity. He wants it both ways. And the song is called Ich bin der Welt abhanden gekommen. I am lost to the world. I am detached from the world. In other words, I love you very dearly. I want you to marry me, but you will never possess the whole of me. Seriously, if there are fathers here with girls, anybody does this, you know what to do, right? But she falls for it, and they get married. And the ambiguity and the ambivalence goes even deeper, because this song is part and parcel of the Adagietto of the Fifth Symphony, which is the most famous piece that Mahler ever wrote, and became a kind of funeral anthem. Leonard Bernstein conducted it at the funeral of Robert F. Kennedy, and at moments of great commemoration, people bring out the Adagietto, and they think it is a funeral ode. Mahler told Alma it's a love letter that he'd written for her. So everything that's going on here in Mahler has two meanings and possibly more. Everything that he does in music is seeded with multiple possibilities. And we're going to hear Ich bin der Welt abhanden gekommen.
es ist mir auch gar nichts daran gelegen, ob sie mich für sterben wird. Ich kann auch gar nicht sagen dagegen, denn wirklich bin ich gestorben, gestorben der Welt. Ich bin gestorben, dem Weltgetümmel und ruh in einem stillen Gebiet. Ich leb allein in meinem Himmel, in meinem
So when Chen and I were having a little chat about this recital at the cafe down the road, Jews and music and Vienna. One of us said, was any of this in Hebrew? And the only one I could think of was by a chap
called Franz Schubert, who wasn't Jewish at all, but he had a commission from a synagogue, from the temple on Seitenstedtengasse, to set 2 psalms in Hebrew, one of which is the Friday night psalm, Tov Lo Odot Hashem, and the other one, can't quite remember, but they're both choral pieces, so we can't do them, because we didn't bring the choir tonight. And then the thought occurred that in Israel, there was a composer called Sasha Argov. He was born in Moscow, Alexander Abramovich, and obviously that was too long. He was completely self-taught in music. He went to Israel in, I think, the 1920s, never got a job in music, worked in some clerical capacity, but would go home in the evening after a day of, paper clips and write a song. 1,400 of them. They are the bedrock of the Israeli songbook. And a friend of ours, an Israeli composer called Oded Zahavi, called him, at a little festival of his music, called him the Israeli Schubert. And that was just perfect, because that's exactly what it is. And Chen is going to sing for us one song of Sasha Argov called Shir, Eres, Lullaby.
And let me just say one thing, because when Norman and I thought about it about 2 months ago, we came up with this beautiful song, which both of us love. I was actually given that song by my commander in the Israeli army. I was in the Tzahal, Israel Defense Forces Orchestra, and actually the grandson of Sasha Argov served with me. Yeah, and he played the piano when we sang it back in Israel over 25 years ago. But the interesting thing is that this is a song from a play. And the play is called Queen Esther, and it takes place in no other place than Paras, which is Iran. And this scene, the clown, remember that clown who sang for the king in Songs of the Clown by Shakespeare, by Korngold. This clown sings to the king, and the king, Ahasuerus, is very disturbed. He cannot fall asleep because he needs to decide what to do with those Jews, right? The story of Purim. So how appropriate it is now. At the end, everything is okay. Silence, and the king, thank God, falls asleep. And we know the end of Megillat Esther. So, Shir, Eres.
ונשתתקו שוקי פרס, ורק אי שם הקלרינטה, וכל כינור וקונטרבס, מלחשים אל תתלבטה, ושקט שקט הס. אמנם רדפנו הבלים, אבל הנה הראש ירקנו, עם כתר הוא נושא עוד לי, אין שום הבדל, בסוף אישנו, ואייננו, ואיינו לי, ואייני לנו לכולנו. נום תפוח, נום העץ, נום המלך, נום הלץ, נומו נהרות וחוף, נומו חצוצרות וטוב, אולי בכל זאת רבע עוף, לא, לא סוף. כל רוגז וחמות וטורח, ותאוות וחירוק שן, עברו חלפו כעוברי אורח, שיעברו אני ישן, גם שאלות לשאול אין צורך ואין תועלת אין רוב נגנות ישות צלילים אך שיר הארס שידענו ושנחבא אל הכלים רק ובסוף נשאר איתנו נשאר ושר הניחו לנו לכולנו נו מדרך בקץ נו ממלך באלץ נו ברוח ומפרס הרגו תולדות פרס שיכבו את הפנס
Gosh, what an absolute pleasure. I have just a few things to say. Norman, thank you so much. I actually have a copy of a new version of the Megillat Esther for you. I usually get to see you walking, usually back from the synagogue, so they sit in your library well. When Chen shared the idea of finishing with this song, our prayers, Shalom seems so far away, but we'll take Shechet Chas, we'll take still and quiet, and please God, may it continue. But what an extraordinary pleasure. I want to say an enormous thank you to Richard and Noemi for joining us this evening. We have a little something for both of you as a gesture of our appreciation. Thank you both so much. Chen. The thought that was going through my mind as you were saying Sing Willow was that the building was wanting to sing along with you. There's something about song which is just so pulling out of me, and I think for all of us here it just begs a kind of an emotion of response, and at a time when for you and for all of us who are here, it feels a little beaten down to be pulled forward in song. Not that you don't hear me sing, and I think even if we'd have all sung together, we were much better off in the mode of powerfully evocative participation and listening. For your creativity and determination in bringing the whole project together, for your determination to celebrate these voices of our past, and for your musicality this evening, and for bringing this all together at a time of great celebration. We are enormously grateful. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Chen Reiss. We have a reception served next door. You're very welcome to stay. You're very welcome to purchase copies from the album. You're very welcome to hang around either in this space or next door. The request from our wonderful security team, and our thanks to them for looking after us, is that you please don't congregate either stood outside the building or in the road in front. For those of us who are counting, it is Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. Very shortly, we're in business. 7:30 a.m. tomorrow morning here, as well as 6:30 p.m., as well as 9:15 on Shabbat. And we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you all so much for coming.